Well, welcome back to the couch. It's such a nice pleasure to have you back in the studio, safe in Australia. Steve Collins from Radio Roaming. Welcome back.
Yes, but is Australia safe for me? Hello, Fred. Nice to be back.
Well, so much has changed.
You know, see how much weight I've lost? See, I've been walking through Myanmar.
Aren't that good. Oh, yeah, I can see better now. Where are you, Steve?
Yeah, exactly right.
Oh, yes.
So there I am.
I hardly noticed you on camera. They had to we used to have two cameras on you.
Yeah, you used to have to use a fisheye lens to get me in, and you don't now. You knew the narrow lens.
Where have you been? Because I asked you how to pronounce. You said Myanmar.
Myanmar, Burma. Myanmar is a Burmese name for Burma.
Burma.
So Burma, yeah.
And what was Burma famous for? Because I remember when growing up, we all stayed away from there for some reason. There was a lot of instability.
Yeah, well, since the 1960s, basically, right up until about 2 years ago, there was a military dictatorship, and so it was pretty much a closed country. Well, now there's been a democracy. And there's a lot of foreign investment, and they're welcoming tourists. And
so it's a beautiful place to travel to?
I'll tell you what, it's a really beautiful place. And we've got a video here of the people of Myanmar.
The Yangon.
Yangon. Yangon is the main city. Look at that. These are just a whole pile of still shots I took. Because Buddhism is very, very big there. There's Buddhist monks everywhere. The people are so friendly, so happy.
What's the nationality there? Like,
well, Burmese is the main nationality.
Yeah. No, because a lot of people I'm watching might be
but there's a lot of influences. The cuisine, for instance, it's Thai, Chinese, Indian influences on the cuisine, and it's beautiful.
Are the people welcoming and really
very, very welcoming? Particularly for me, because I look like Buddha, and I was greeted everywhere.
Did they call you boss?
No, they call me Papa.
Papa,
yeah.
Well, that's nice.
I don't know why.
I better let Heather know in case there's any paternity suits.
But the people there are just so friendly.
It looks beautiful, very relaxing.
But as you can see, it's basically still an agrarian economy, and it's a very, very basic there. When they make roads, they're still made literally by hand. People placing rock there, and then they rocks down, and then they literally melt the pitch and pour it on and stuff like that.
It does look really nice. Is there a lot of tourists going there? So, like when you were around the streets?
No, not when because I went in the off season. I like to go places in the off season, because
I'm off
anyway. Beat the tourists. But it's a really interesting place to go and visit. Now, Yangon, this is which used to be known as Rangoon.
Rangoon.
Yeah, you might have heard of that. Rangoon has got, as I say, as a Buddhist, it has got the most incredible pagoda there, the Shwedagon Pagoda. Here it is. This is just enormous. You'll see better. This is over 100 metres tall. It is 2,500 years old, and it's just incredible.
Is it only lit up at night?
Well, yes, they only light it up at night because they don't need to light it up during the day.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
But it's open basically from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. at night. And all these are locals. There's thousands and thousands of locals go there and pray. And there's all these different Buddhas. And there's many different incantations of the Buddha. There's, and those kids there you saw, they're orphans. And what happens is these Buddhist temples take them in and they care for them. And so that's why you see so many kids there. You see girls are in sort of pink robes, and the boys are in their brown, red robes.
Is the pagoda open to everybody?
Yeah.
Or is it a religious place?
No, it's open to everybody.
Do you have to wear certain clothing to go in?
You can't wear short shorts. You can't show your knees, and you have to be barefoot. Now, fortunately, walking barefoot through the temple is okay because it's all marble and it's really easy to walk on. Some of the other temples I've walked in other areas, it wasn't all marble, it was broken bricks, and you still have to walk barefoot. And that was a little bit hard on the feet, but you still do it, and it's fascinating.
Now the next place is the Mandalay.
Mandalay. Oh, the road to Mandalay. I did the road to Mandalay.
Tell me about the history of this place.
Well, the Mandalay is virtually new because it was built by the British, because Burma used to be a British colony. And it's 751 kilometres from Yangon, and so I caught a cab there because I thought, I want to go by road. I want to do the road to Mandalay. And it was an extraordinary trip because the countryside is just phenomenal.
It looks beautiful.
And here we go. This is at Mandalay Hill, which overlooks the city, and it's huge. Once again, they've got temples on most of the hills. But it's extraordinary. And over there in the distance, you can see the Irrawaddy River. The Irrawaddy River is the main river in Burma. And it was in flood when I was there, and you can see it all.
It does look beautiful.
Oh,
is it clean, or is it just the vision I'm seeing? It looks
No,
very
it's a very,
clean.
very clean city. It's a very, very clean place. Everything's clean. And they've got lots of these rice terraces, etc.
incredible.
But it's just an incredible place to go and visit. And the temples are extraordinary because they're all different. And there's gilt and gold and all sorts of stuff around
Is
them.
it
A lot of
a
people's
very wealthy
jewels.
place?
No, not as far as the local people is concerned. There's a lot of poverty there. Most people are farmers, or they're labourers. I mean, my hotel in Mandalay overlooked a building site, and men and women worked on the site. The safety boot of preference is a pair of thongs, and a lot of people were just barefoot. But the women, a cement mixer would come along, a cement truck would come along, pour out all the cement, and they'd put the concrete in woks, and it'd take two people, and they'd put them on a woman's head, and she would have to walk and tip it out. Likewise, they'd have about 16 bricks on their heads to cart that. And it's very, very basic lifestyle.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Like, is it ready for tourists? Like, if you and I were going to go back there,
tourism is good for the
hotels,
country
restaurants?
because tourism brings in currency, and it creates employment. So tourism is good for the country. Now, the other thing I did, because I'm going to do two parts. The next time I'm going to do my other travels, but this one I had a little cruise on the Irrawaddy River. Oh, this was just delightful. This is fantastic. One of the great rivers of the world. And I went down to a town called Mingun, which was probably about an hour and a half away, sailing down the river, and it's just a beautiful, smooth trip.
Does Irrawaddy mean anything? Is there a background?
They actually call it Ayawaddy. Irrawaddy is the English version of it. But it's not as busy as I thought, because normally, this had been in flood, but the ferries that they have, you can get ferries right down to Mandalay and stuff, but they weren't running at this stage, so I did like a half-day cruise. And there's a lot of river there. But you go to these towns, and you go. I went to this temple at Mingung, and it was going to be massive. It was going to be bigger than the Great Pyramid of Egypt, of Cheops. And the guy started building it, and he built the first section, which was 50 metres high, and then he was going to build section 2 and section 3. And they had this massive great earthquake. This was in 1851, and it split the whole thing. And when you see there's this massive, great big holes in it, because they have a lot of earthquakes there, because it's at the base of the Himalayas.
Tell me about shopping, because I know we've got a couple of minutes to go, but I hear your wife Heather saying to me, is there shopping for me? And I like a bit of shopping. Is there enough shopping?
Don't tell her, she's in the studio. Shh. There is. I got some gifts there. No, there's heaps of shopping.
There's plenty to do, like food-wise.
There's a lot. I'll tell you what, some of the things I saw there was because they all wear traditional dress, and men and women wear what they call a longi, which is like, and there's a lot of cloth there, a lot of things like scarves and materials. They make lacquerware there as well, and that's all handmade, and it's very intensive. But it's also, they have precious jewels there, rubies. It's probably the ruby capital of the world.
So if you had to pick a couple of reasons why we need to go to Myanmar, yeah. Tell me why we need to go there. Obviously, shopping's getting there.
Well, shopping would be the last reason I would go there. The food is extraordinary. The people are fantastic. It is such an interesting country. It is a very, very different culture from anywhere else in Asia. The other thing is that it's a very, very beautiful country. At this stage, it's pretty much undeveloped. So if you go there, what you are seeing is the Asia that we took, the Asia of Rudyard Kipling. The Asia of Rudyard Kipling.
Bali 30 years ago, Lombok 20 years ago.
It's seeing the real people. Vietnam 20 years ago, before it was sort of tourism took over.
Steve, we just need to thank a couple of people too. You went with AirAsia, they were wonderful.
AirAsia were great, but from Perth, there's good connecting flights.
Do you want to thank the Tourism Commission that took you there, or anyone else from the hotels? Anyone you want to plug?
Oh, yeah, look, I stayed in some really nice, but I stayed in local hotels, and I have to say there was one, the Bagan King Hotel in Mandalay, which is a little hotel, but it was gorgeous. It was just great to stay in. And the gracious Bagan Hotel in Bagan, and I'll talk about Bagan next time.
Beautiful.
Because that's where I had one of the best experiences of my life, singing karaoke with the generals.
Well, I'm glad you went to the right karaoke, because when I went to Bali, karaoke had a different meaning.
I don't know what your meaning was.
But I'll leave that for the next show. Thank you very much. If you want more information about Steve Collins' travels, it always looks like a holiday, but he has an amazing time working when he's away. RadioRoaming.com, it's on the website there. What are we talking about next time, next fortnight?
We're going to go to Bagan, which is still in Myanmar, but I have to talk about it because it's extraordinary. Spin
it to win it. We're going to talk about that after the break and tell you how to enter as well. But we'll go to a break and come back.